Oh,
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yep, yep. I'm glad we're live again. Yeah. So, Lady Theresa, I'm excited to have you on this our show today because we are looking at your journey so far. You know, in Canada, and I understand that it's been a wonderful journey so far. Welcome once again, everyone listening to us live. We're excited to have Lady Theresa once again. We gave you a teaser the last time, right?
yeah.
Yeah. All right, Lady Theresa, we want to do a quick introduction, right? I know you as the money goddess, and also I know that you've been in Canada for a couple of years now, but I want you to tell us a bit more about your journey. What inspired you to start helping immigrant moms manage their money?
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Hi everyone. Okay, so mine is a funny story actually. I always say my husband dragged me kicking and screaming to Canada. So in 2020 I came to Canada. It wasn't what I wanted, but it just happened. And because prior to now, I would tell myself, oh, I was doing well. Like I had a thriving training and consulting business. I had already retired from a job. Everything was okay, at that time. So I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. But he dragged me kicking and screaming. so, so when I came here, I quickly looked at, okay, what's the positive of being here, right? It's not just to be crying and wailing that, oh, I've uprooted my life. Oh, I don't man, there's no family here. I don't have anybody here. But I quickly looked at what's the positive aspect. Number one, I said, okay, at least here I can get my passport and start traveling the world because traveling the world is something I love to do. So I said, okay, the good side is now if I get my passport, I can travel around the world. Secondly, I was like, okay, there is internet, so I can leverage internet and do things that maybe they were harder to do back home. And then thirdly, it's very funny, but I had all these coaching programs I wanted to buy, but I couldn't afford then. So I was like, okay, now I'll be earning in dollars, so I'll be able to afford those coaches. So to me, it was just me trying to make myself feel good. but but along the line, I realized that these dreams that I'm having, right? It needs money. That's number one. And number two, it requires time. And so that kind of puts me in that mood that okay, how can I make this money and still have the time to enjoy all these things that I want to enjoy? So that's really what kind of like got me on this path that okay, let me get into the financial space because I have a financial background. And then I know that I wasn't going to be the only one that has this kind of big dreams. So I decided to then say, okay, let me work with other people like me. It just started as me just wanting connection with other moms, accountability, let's achieve goals together. And that's how the whole thing, kicked off and is now becoming like a thriving business, if you ask me. So that's a little bit of my story.
Wow. You said something about you retiring from a job. What does that really mean?
Yes. I always called my back home in Nigeria. I always say I was retired. And I think people don't understand the term retire. People think retiring is, oh, I'm not working anymore, or oh, I'm not doing anything anymore. But what I call retiring then was I had retired from selling my time for money. So I wasn't selling my time for money anymore. I sold my skill for money. I sold my talent for money. I sold my experience for money. I published a book, Sell Without Selling, right?
Wow.
So this is an experience that I put in a book. And people were buying it. So I was training, I was consulting. People were paying me not for my time, but for my knowledge, my skill, my experience, my expertise. So to me, at that point, I felt I had retired from selling my time for money. So that's what I call retirement.
Wow. Wow. But I know that, like every immigrant, right, there are challenges that they face. I know your husband dragged you into coming to Canada, like you mentioned.
Yeah,
I love the word you use, drag. But what's your own biggest money challenge when you first arrived Canada?
good. That's a very great question. When I got here, and that's why I said I thought I was doing well. When you are like, you feel like you're the queen somewhere, and then you go somewhere else, and you're like, that your money, if they convert it, is not really making sense here. So when I got here, I realized that I had little to no savings. Like literally, when I say little to no savings, I'm talking about if you convert it to dollars, is really nothing, right? So that was the first place I started from. It dawned on me that you might be living like a king somewhere else, but if you go to a different environment, that's a whole new ball game. So I now had to, of course, now start getting a little bit more aware and more conscious about money. So my money problem number one was I had little to no savings. And so I was like, how do you want to live all this big, big life if you don't have any savings, if you're not investing, if you don't understand how money works? So that was my biggest challenge. And I knew I wasn't the only one. So there's a lot out there like me. So as I was solving my own problem, I'm helping other people solve their problems as well.
So just to bring it down, I know you wrote a book, and I know that you target immigrant moms.
Hmm.
Why immigrant moms?
Hmm. First off, I am an immigrant mom. And I always, even in my book, Sell Without Selling, I always say, hey, if you want to sell easily or sell effortlessly, the who is very important, right? Your perfect customer, like we say, who are you selling to? And to me, the easiest way to identify a who, because it is not rocket science, the easiest way to identify who to sell to is someone who is like you or someone who wants to be like you. So those are two ways. If you are looking for niche, who do I sell to? Blah, just look for that. Someone who is like you or someone who wants to be like you. And so I sat down and I was like, okay, like I said, a lot of these problems I have, I am not the only one that has this problem. So if I can solve that problem for myself, then I know there are other people who are like me or who even want to be like me. When I say they are like me, they are immigrant moms. They are also maybe their husband even dragged them as well. And then who want to be like who want to be like me, meaning that maybe they also want to like have their own time freedom. They also want to travel the world. They also want to have like a confidence of investing and all that. So it was an easy thing for me to identify that okay, I can actually help these people.
Wow, that's fantastic. And so far, how many immigrant moms are in your community? How many have you helped so far? Do you have a number, the
Yeah.
statistics, and all?
Yeah, it started as just let me just open a WhatsApp group. In fact, it's a very funny story. Like I said, I just when I came to Canada, I was like, okay, who are these people that are like me? I just went on Facebook and I typed Edmonton. That was really what I started. I was just trying to connect with other moms. So I typed Edmonton, then I went to people who are in Edmonton and I just started messaging them that hey, I'm new in Edmonton, just fun, connecting. And then I, met people who are like me. I met one, Amarachi. She's like, I always mention her name in all my stories. And that's how I met her. On Facebook, I slid in her DM and we were like, okay, let's do this. Let's have people who are like us in a small group. And then we started a WhatsApp group, started growing the WhatsApp group. As of today, it's 350 something in that
Wow.
WhatsApp group and counting. And then I also started posting on social media. And then I have a lot of these people also following me on social media. And out of this, about maybe 45 families have also, been helped through me. That's what I would say.
Wow, wow. That's outstanding. 45. And I like your drive. I like the fact that you didn't relent. You went online. So, how has the online space been so far? Because there are lots of people listening to you today. They are afraid to go online. They are worried about that. And this is why I'm even hosting a seminar about showing yourself more on online. But I just
Yeah.
want you to talk about that experience for you.
Yeah. So when it comes to, promoting yourself online, if there's one thing that gives me confidence, and that is also something I coach people on, when people say, "Oh, I've reached out to everybody I know." For example, they are trying to sell and they say, "I've reached out to everybody I know." I always ask them a question. I said, "Okay, the people you know versus the people you don't know, who is more?" Who is more? If the people you know they are more than the people you don't know, then you are ruined. You are ruined. But if the people you don't know are more than the people you know, then you can still make $1 million. That's the truth.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that's how I got into the online space, because I was like, the people I don't know are more. And so
Hmm.
the best way is, instead of me chasing the people I know who may not need what I have, let me
Mhm.
position myself so that the people I don't know can know me and they can come to me. So that to
Awesome.
me is the strategy for online.
I love that. I love that. But I know that there are lots of people who have bias, myth, they have beliefs and all of that, right? Especially if you've narrowed down on your target audience. So
Yeah.
we're looking at immigrant moms now. What are some of the common money myths most immigrant moms believe that hold them back financially?
Mm, yeah. The first one that I noticed, the first one I noticed is a lot of them they believed a lie. And that's what I start from saying, that they usually believe a lie. And that lie is that the only thing, once you are new in Canada, the only thing is for you to get a survival job.
Hmm.
So they look at money in terms of, let me just hustle and make that money.
Hmm.
So to me, once that is a belief for you, then it will become your reality. But if you came in and you are like, okay, can I find out what other people are doing and how can I do it? It will change your money game, because you would
Hmm.
not just rush into, just let me just hustle and make money. Then another thing I noticed, and it's not all, but most of the people that are here is because they have this money problem. Let's say they don't have enough money. What they are doing is they save money and spend time.
Hmm.
That was one
Hmm.
thing I noticed. So people were like holding the little money they have to their chest, and they will spend time to save money. So I hear a lot of moms say, DIY, do this thing yourself, do this one yourself, make your hair yourself. So I'm like, the time you're using to make this hair, you can use it to make money. So that was like the first one that I noticed. And I just started educating people on it. And I feel like if we can look into money versus time, it will break a lot of this myth and we can start changing our money game.
Wow, wow. But this brings me to, how do you really help moms shift from a survival mindset to a wealth building mindset? I know you just talked about one aspect, right? But
Yeah.
how in general can you help? There's a mom listening to you out there,
Mm.
an immigrant mom listening to you now. Like, how do you help them with that mindset shift?
Yeah. I always emphasize changing your relationship, the relationship you have with money. It starts from there. So I have a framework basically. My framework is, we always go from mindset first. So I call it maps, is maps. So I go from mindset first to action steps, and then people. You cannot really grow without people, whether it's collaboration, whether it's accountability and all that. And then the last one is self review, right? So a lot of people I notice they jump the mindset and move to action. So when you jump the mindset and move to action, you're just going to be hustling. So I'm like, I want to make sure that we have the right mindset. So I educate them on having the right mindset, understand the energy called money first. So most people that I talk to, we start from there, that let's understand our relationship with money. Once you understand your relationship with money, then it's easier to learn how to make it, how to manage it, how to grow it, how to protect it. So we start from that energy part, that mindset part. How do you see money? And how do you, once you clear that up, then we now go into the action steps. Where are you lacking? Is it in the making money? Is it in the managing money? Is it in the growing money? Is it in the protecting money? And then I provide, support service in that regard.
That means you have different offers for
Yes.
solving different problems, right?
Yes.
Because I know some of the challenge people out there have is defining their offer, understanding what kind of offer to put out there. But
Yeah.
let's look at habits, because I know that in order for you to achieve progress in most cases, you need to have daily habits, weekly habits.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the daily or weekly habits you recommend for moms to take control of their finances?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Awareness is always the first step to change or any transformation. Awareness. A lot of moms are not even aware. So in my conversation with people, I'm like, okay, how much do you earn? Some people don't even know. They can't tell you, like, you are earning an income, but they can't even give you a number and say, this is how much I earn. They don't, because they are not aware. They just assume, conclude. So I always say the first habit is awareness. Know where you are, know how much is coming in, know how much is going out. You can make it a weekly thing, you can make it a however you want to set up that habit, but start from that awareness part, because it is from the awareness you set goal. If you are setting goal and you are not aware, it's just a wish. You can't say, oh, I want to make $10,000. You don't even know how much you're making right now. Then it's a wish. But if you know how much is in your account and how much goes out of your account, then you can budget better. Then you can even set goals better. So awareness is number one. Then budgeting. Send every money to work. Say, okay, oh, this is how much is coming in. Let me make sure that every dollar has been sent to work, whatever you are sending it to. So these are just a few of the habits I like to say. Awareness, budgeting. From budgeting, you now start setting money goals. But these two things are core for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for someone who is just starting up as a new immigrant,
Mm,
what are the easy steps right now that can take to start saving and budgeting? Because this terminology is, we heard it so much that most people, they don't even know where to start from. Some people start, but they don't know how to continue in that light, right?
yeah.
How do you help the baby steps? Like, what
Yeah.
can you do, to
Yeah.
at least start saving today?
Okay. The first thing is, once you're earning an income, I always use that illustration of fruit. There's a reason it's called fruit of your labor. I hope my network is kind of looks like it's shaky. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I hope you can
No.
hear me clearly.
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. So there's a reason it's called fruit of your labor. So just look at it as a fruit. So a lot of people tell me, "Oh, I just came, I just started working." I'm like, if you started working, it means that's a fruit, and every fruit has a seed. If that fruit did not have a seed, you will not have another fruit. So I always try to break it down that the day you start earning, you need to identify the seed of that fruit. All right. So I have a very small breakdown. Like, okay, live with that 70%. Whatever income you're earning, let the 70% of that income take care of your basic needs. Don't buy things because you love it. Buy things because they are in line with 70%. If you want to own more, then earn more. So start with 70% of your income is what takes care of all those things. Then the other 30%, you can split them in different ways. There are very easy ones, like you just have like a high interest savings account where I'm just putting, let's assume $300 is the 30%. Just put that $100 there as high interest in a high interest savings account. This is just for emergency. Put another one in a TFSA. At least it's saving you taxes and it's just for like project or whatever. Put the other $100 into something a little bit more long term, right? So whatever you consider the vehicle that works best for you, there are a lot of options: cash value life insurance, RSP, whatever, a little bit more long term. You put it there. The reason for that is you are taking care of both the short term needs, the medium term needs, and the long term needs. If you just start with this framework 70/30, you are literally set up, because it's about the habit, not about how much you're earning. But if you can
Yeah.
create a framework that gives you a habit of bringing out seed from the fruit and planting the seed, then you are literally on the right path.
I love what you said, right? It makes a lot of sense, right? But sometimes I know I coach a lot of people, and I know that sometimes it's the action, the small action that brings the change. And I
Mm,
love what you just really said now. But, as moms, right?
yeah,
We're dealing with kids. You're a full time mom. Some people are employees or business owners. They still have to be a full time wife,
yeah.
for those who are married,
Yeah.
and all of that. So, how do you grapple all of this and you still have to do it, and your emotions, putting your emotions in intact, and still have to grow wealth at the same time as a mom?
Mm, that is our biggest blessing and a curse. I always say being a mother is almost a it's like a blessing and a curse, because you have so many things on your head, right? But one thing that helps me is number one, I know myself very well, and I always advise people: know yourself, know what you can handle, and know what you cannot handle. Do not compare yourself with others, right? So know yourself. That's the first thing. And then secondly, have a good relationship with time. Time. I don't even want to say time management, whatever. Just have a good respect time. Because timeliness, even punctuality, there are all ways that you are respecting time. If you
Mhm.
respect time, time will respect you. I always joke when I hear people say, I don't have time, I don't have time. I always say, do you think God would have given us 24 hours if it wasn't enough? Like,
Mm,
he's a perfect God, right? So he knows that 24 hours is enough. If not, he would have given us more than 24 hours. So the problem is not that we don't have time. The problem is we're probably not in a very good relationship with time. If you
mm,
understand timeliness and just working, respecting time in everything you're doing, and knowing yourself and not do more than yourself, like some people would
mhm.
say, that I feel like you get more things done and you'll be able to handle it. Time leaders helps a lot.
Wow, that's awesome. So coordinating your time. So
Yes.
what are some of the biggest mistakes you see most immigrant moms make with money? I know
Hmm.
you've encountered a few, over 300 in your community. You've
Yeah.
helped over 45. So definitely there are mistakes people are making already when it
Yeah.
comes to money.
Yeah. The first mistake, which is the most common, is that we think that we can actually control like the spending, if you
Mm,
know what I mean. So let me explain. A lot of people, they like to see the money in their bank account. I want to see that money in my bank account, because they are relying on their discipline to keep that money or manage that money. And
yeah.
before you know it, something will happen. They need to buy this thing from their child. They need to send money back home. They need to, and everything is gone. So a lot of moms, I always say, see, we are nurturers. That's what we do. So we would always like to take care of people, either our children, our parents, our in-laws. We're always wanting to take care of people. Now, if when it comes to your money, you are putting your money where you easily have access to it, then that money will not grow because you will spend it. So that was the first thing I noticed. More people put their money where they can easily access it. And I keep talking about it, that if you really want to grow wealth or save and invest, put that money somewhere that is not easily accessible. Once you do
Mm,
that, it builds that discipline. Instead of you trying to rely on willpower that, oh, I will not spend it. Don't worry, I will not spend. You will spend it. Something will happen and you will spend it. So that's one mistake. People put money where they can easily access it. And that kind of like stops that money from growing.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. I know there are lots of people listening and watching in from all over Canada and all over the world.
Mhm.
Wherever you are, I want you to just put in the chat, where you're watching from or where you're listening from. This will really help us at least connect with you and know where we are. This is the entrepreneurial series, and we interview different entrepreneurs, getting to know their journeys, what they are doing, and how they are helping more and more people across Canada. Please like this and also follow up and subscribe and be a part of this journey, be a part of this community. We're happy to have you watch us tonight or this morning or wherever you are, or this afternoon, wherever you're watching from. Please put in the chat if you're finding this insightful. So, well, our guest today is Teresa. We
Mhm.
call her Lady Theresa, the money goddess. For those of you who don't know her, you get to know her more today. So, Lady Teresa, what are some of the biggest, you know, um, obstacles? Because we're talking about moms, you deal with moms. What are the, because from Africa, right, talking about money sometimes is challenging. It's like a taboo sometimes when you want to
Yeah.
talk about money. So, how do you teach your kids, right, as an immigrant mom, strategies about money, at least?
Yeah. So there's something I always say. I had a presentation somewhere, and I was telling people that if your child says they want to buy something, anything at all, you shouldn't. The mistake you would ever make, the biggest mistake is trying to tell that child that, oh, this is too expensive for you, or it's too big, or whatever. What you are telling that child is that that thing is more valuable than your child.
Mm,
And that was the mistake a lot of maybe our parents even made. When you tell them you want to buy, how much is it? They will make it look like they are invalidating your need, that thing that you want. They kind of make it like, no, you shouldn't need that thing. So I'm
mm.
always like, let's start from there. Your child's needs and wants are valid. I make a joke and I say it's not your child's fault that you're broke. So don't make them blame themselves that you're broke. So if your child wants something, that's the first step of teaching them about money. You need to let them know that, okay, that's a learning opportunity for them to learn budgeting, for example. So sometimes I tell my child that, okay, we're going to put it on the budget. I'm not going to tell you, no, you shouldn't want this kind of thing. I'm not going to tell you, oh, this thing is too expensive for you. Why would you put that at a higher value than the child? But that would be a learning moment that, okay, we're going to put it on a budget. I can even say, okay, let's do this. Sometimes, and this is a funny story. My 7 year old was one of the major reasons I even left my paid job in January. Why?
Mm,
Because I didn't have time, and he will come home at 4, and he wants to talk to me, but I'm on the phone with client because my 9 to 5 I was on the job. So I'll be like, no, go, go, go. So I was always pushing him away. And one day he asked me why I'm doing all this thing that I'm doing. And I said, I have to make money. I literally told him that I have to make money. And then this little boy, 7 year old, he told me, Mommy, what else can you do to make money that is not this? And that thing kind of like it blew my mind. We always think that, oh, when you're abroad the children are this, that is not. It's just that we are not present. If you are present, that child will not turn out in a certain way that we know about being abroad. So I feel like that money conversation should start early. It should start early, and they should know that there is money to be earned. And so when he asks me, what else can you do to make this money so that at least when I come back from school, you have time for me? Imagine a 7 year old asking me that. So that was
wow.
like, I was like, wait, oh, what else can I really do to make money? And that was how I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Let me focus on this one. At least this one, he'll be at school. I'll do what I want to do. When he gets back, I'll have his time. So these conversations have to be done with our kids. Tell them about
Mm,
money, how that money is earned, and then tell them about budgeting. If they want something, we put a plan in place for it instead of telling them don't want it. we'll tell them, okay, we're going to put it in the plan. It's a budget. So that's a learning opportunity for that child.
That's awesome, right? That's really awesome. And you teach this also to your at least in your coaching program, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So let's talk about success stories, right?
Mhm.
Can you share a success story of a woman or a mom you worked with whose life changed because of better money habits, right? That you
Yeah,
taught them how
yeah.
to do, right? So, can you just share a success story of anyone that
Okay.
you've worked with? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I had this the one that comes to my mind. I had this friend Fumi. She was like my very first client actually. When I got licensed as an advisor. So I did a policy review with her recently. And so we were just going through the fund value and everything. And then when she saw the fund value, to be honest, she was in shock
Hmm.
because number one, she said all her other savings account she keeps withdrawing like there's nothing there. So in her mind she said, if I did not set this up, I would have spent this money. This
Wow.
money would have gone. So to she didn't even because at that time maybe she also didn't even have a lot of knowledge. So she was just like, okay, let's just be doing, But when we did the review, she was like, what is this amount now? So the thing kind of like blew her mind that now she has it's almost like giving you peace of mind that okay, I'm building wealth, you know. So some of these habits, that's why I said sometimes mothers, we are not so in control of our money. But if you can set it up in a way that you are not thinking about it, that is one
Hmm.
quick secret to building wealth. So that gave her so much joy, so much peace. She was like, she would even increase it so that she knows that okay, at least that one she's not touching it and is helping her build wealth. So that's one little habit that really changed her life because she didn't know she had even any fund anywhere. She thought she had
Wow.
spent all her money. So that's the one that came to my mind.
Wow. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, but if a mom is listening right now and
Mm.
feels overwhelmed, what's the one thing she should do this week to feel empowered?
Hmm. I would say pause. Pause. A lot of times that overwhelm is coming from overthinking. Quick story. I always like to share everything with stories. So my husband, I learned this one from my husband actually. So when my husband is watching a movie and I'm trying to tell him something, he will pause the movie and then he will listen to me. You know how they say men cannot multitask. So that's him. So he will pause it. But when I'm watching a movie and he's telling me something, I'll be watching the movie and I'll still be listening to him. But I noticed that when he has finished telling me, I'm either losing, I've forgotten something that has happened in that movie. I may need to rewind, or I don't even have the full information that he shared with me. So that thing gave me like a light bulb moment that sometimes when you feel overwhelmed, just pause. Just pause. Like take a breather and come back to the present and just ask yourself, what can I do next? Just focus on that one thing that I can do next. So if you pause, the mind calms down and then you'll be able to identify just one thing you can do next because that overwhelm comes from you are thinking 1 million steps ahead. You are thinking what you'll do next year, next 2 years, 20 years from now. But if you take that pause and you just ask that simple question, what can I do right now? That changes a lot of things.
That's awesome. The
Yeah.
need to pause, right?
Yeah.
But what's one piece of advice you wish someone gave you about money when you started your journey?
It would be that I should value time more than money. So like I said, a lot of the times I was like this, I can make money. So when they ask people what's your skill, if you ask me my skill is that I can make money. So I'm never that person that is afraid to sell something or do this business. Making money is a skill I have. But at that time, managing money was not so much of a even growing money was not so much of a skill because I know how to make the money. I just spend it. I make it, I spend it. I make it, I spend it. But one thing that if I knew earlier would have saved me a lot was to value time more than money, in the sense that I should spend money if it gives me back my time. I should spend money to save time instead
Yeah.
of spending time to save money. And that is one advice that if you have that mindset that how can I spend money and save time instead of how can I spend time and save money, that's the biggest advice I give anybody when it comes to money.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, how can people connect with you or learn more about the resources you offer?
Thank you so much. I have a page. So one thing I do, like I said, I teach people how to save and invest consistently. And in line, as I was doing that, a lot of my audience, if you want to really sell, learn the problem that your audience are having. Don't just give them what you want to sell to them. So I noticed that the problem is that a lot of them don't have enough. They don't have enough to save up to what they actually want to save. So I was like, okay, I know how to sell. So I can teach somebody how to sell, make money. And when you make that money, you can now grow the money faster. So I have
Hmm.
like a sales academy as well. All you have to do, reach out to me on my TikTok. I'm very active on TikTok. Reach out to me on TikTok or Instagram, the Money Goddess on TikTok. I have Learn with Lady T on TikTok as well, where I just teach digital sales, just how to sell online. And then for one on one, you can just message me on any of those platforms and we take it from there.
I know you're a licensed insurance agent also. How are you combining all of this with what you're doing right now?
Yeah, what helps me is vision. It's always
Hmm.
about vision. I make sure that the things I do are not competing. Do you
Hmm.
understand? So because I am licensed, I help people save and invest. And the insurance investment products are helping you save and invest. That's number one. Then the earning income, the more money you make, the more money you can save and invest. So I make sure that everything I do are all complementary. They're not competing. As long as
Yeah.
they don't compete, I can have one meeting with you and we talk about all your problems and I show you what can help you solve any of those problems. So that's what works for me. Vision, just having that vision that I want to make these moms to retire early and retire wealthy. So everything I do is around helping you retire early and wealthy.
Yes, I love that because it's part of the conversation I was having with a coaching client this morning, and it was more on, like, getting that thing interrelated. Because if
Yeah.
it's competing against each other,
Yeah.
you get confused,
No.
you get overwhelmed, and all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So,
That's
but what's your biggest vision, right, or your big vision for the future? For yourself, for your community of moms, and the people you serve, right? What's that big vision you have?
I don't want any mom I know. I say this everywhere. I said you shouldn't know me and still be doing a job that you don't like, a job that you resent. Do you understand?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
there are opportunities now to make money on your own terms. So if you have me in your corner, my goal is no mom should ever do something that they are just surviving. Get what I mean? Because right
Yes.
now there are opportunities that help you make money on your own terms. So that's the
Hmm.
big vision. And then of course, I just want my moms to retire earlier. I don't want to be the only one that has retired and enjoying life. I want to enjoy life with other moms. So I want us to just have so much fun. That's like my big vision.
I love that. And we're about rounding up. But
Yeah.
lastly, in one sentence, what's your personal definition of financial freedom?
Hmm. So it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be funny, but I'm still gonna say it. So to me, a financial freedom to me is when I get to a stage where I no longer set money goals.
Mm,
To be honest, not because I don't want to, I'm not ambitious or whatever, but because I am not working for money anymore.
mm,
So I want to go beyond setting money goals. When we say setting, you don't set a goal on something you already have. Let me give an example. You can't say, I want to breathe in and breathe out 20 times this month because it's in abundance. It's in abundance. So you're not even thinking about it, right? But goals most times are things we don't have. That is why we set those goals. We don't have it. So I don't want money to be the agenda for me anymore. So once I get to a point where money is no longer the agenda, setting money goals is no longer the agenda, that is financial freedom for me.
Wow, that's a wonderful definition for financial freedom. I love that. So um, is there any final words you want to give any mom listening to you out there, an immigrant mom listening to you out there? What is that final word you want to give that immigrant mom listening to you
Mm.
right now?
Mm. Yeah, what I would say is if you're listening to me, if you're watching me, take this as a sign that you have it inside of you already. A lot of people have self doubt. A lot of people feel they cannot do this, they cannot do that. Let this be a reminder that you have it inside of you already. Know whose child you are. I get very spiritual when it comes to things like this because people just bring themselves down a lot. Know whose child you are and know that he has already put it inside of you already. So you got this. That's what I would say.
So it's not about who you are, it's about whose you are,
It's
whose you
whose
are,
you are. Yeah. Focus
whose
on
you are.
whose you are, not just who you
Yeah,
are.
I love that. At least because we have all it takes to be successful. And this is what we're saying in our entrepreneurial series. We're just
Mm,
letting you know that you have what it takes to build that business, you have what it takes to become that person.
mm,
You have what it takes to have anything you want if
mm,
you set your mind to do it. I know you're overwhelmed sometimes. I know that there are challenges that come your way. This is why you need to join a community and join our community. We have a WhatsApp community. We call it the Project TEN, Project 10, which is the Entrepreneurial Network. We're here to help more and more entrepreneurs navigate their way around running a business, starting a business, identifying the right business to start, and identifying the right people to serve. So, if you want to join our community, you can DM me or send me a message, and I will add you to that community. Also, we'll be hosting a seminar July 26th on showing yourself more online, overcoming those barriers and those challenges to
mm,
help people know who you are. There are lots of people looking for what you have. There are lots of people looking to buy one or two things from you, but you are not visible enough for them to find you. So how do you make yourself findable? That is what we're going to talk about. So whether you're an insurance agent or you're a realtor or you're a startup business and you're trying to grow your online presence, we are there to help you. It's a free seminar, July 26th, 4 p.m. MST. Look out for the flyer out there. And thank you so much for watching this live session with Lady Theresa, the money goddess. I always love to talk to her because I learned so much from her. If you are not following Lady Theresa yet, please look out for her TikTok handle. She's always live on TikTok, at least twice a week. You will see her live on TikTok. Follow her on Instagram also. She's also on Facebook. You can find a handle out there. Lady Teresa, do you want to give
yes.
out your handle?
Yes.
Any?
Just check me. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube is the money goddess underscore. That's where you get me. On Facebook is Theresa Omonade. You get me there as well.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening and taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to us today. And looking forward to seeing you next week at the same time.
Thank you. Bye bye.